Hi y'all, it's Kristen from naturalbirthandbabycare.com and I am here for the week 10 video, take 2. I'm starting to wonder how many takes it's going to take to get these things right or stop interruptions or whatever, but here we go. So I'm just going to jump right into things. Last week I shared that that I went and got my blood work drawn on Monday, which is just pretty standard, looking at things like a CBC, so which is just a complete look at the blood. So white blood cell count, iron levels, all those sorts of things are included in that. That's pretty standard in pregnancy. There are other things that are standard, like looking at rubella immunity, because rubella can cause congenital rubella syndrome, a lot of problems for the baby. Excuse me. So they look at a lot of that sort of thing. Now there are also other things like they look at HIV and stuff like that standard, which interestingly that was not standard when I was having my first babies, and then it kind of became this controversial extra, and now it's just there and they don't really say anything about it, but they do all of that. Also, they check my vitamin D level, which was low, which is not surprising given that it's it's winter time in northern Michigan here. So I am probably going to supplement some extra vitamin D in addition to my cod liver oil, which I need to get back to taking. I was really good about taking it up until I went to visit my folks, and I haven't been great about doing it since then. So I need to work on that. But anyways, so that was good. What was worrisome was that we also did a TSH, which is a thyroid screening. So TSH is the hormone that the pituitary produces to tell the thyroid to produce thyroid hormones, which are T3 and T4. And so that level was quite low, like well outside of normal range. It was actually 0.06, which is really low. I'm not looking at lab report to tell you the unit that was, and I know that unit varies depending on where you are regionally, but that's what it was in my unit. And so anyways, that is an indicator of hyperthyroidism. Now, it's also, it can be normal in especially the first trimester of pregnancy. As I've learned, I didn't know much about this, so this was something that was really interesting for me to research, like from a student midwife perspective, and then also because it involves my personal health. So I learned quite a lot over the past week about all of this stuff. And I also learned that there was a study, I want to say it was a Danish or a Dutch study, but I don't remember which. Maybe Dutch. But anyways, it was just published in 2016, but they did a lot of work. It was a large study. And they showed that there are 2 primary periods of thyroid in the first trimester, of TSH levels. In the first trimester, it also looked at T4. But anyways, that in early pregnancy, from like 5 to 8 weeks or so, that TSH levels tend to be normal, but then from 9 to 12 weeks, they can be quite low. Another thing interesting is that we've known for quite a while that HCG, which is human chorionic gonadotropin, which is that's what's produced when you're pregnant and the baby implants. It's what causes your pregnancy tests to be positive. That can cause a false low from TSH. So between 9 and 12 weeks is when HCG is pretty much reaching its peak. After that, it starts to decline as the placenta takes over function. Another thing that we know is women who have HG or hyperemesis gravidarum, which I do not have, but we know that those women tend to have high HCG levels, and they also tend to have quite low TSH levels. So there's, correlations going on there. So anyways, I was definitely concerned at first. I was concerned also because many of you know this, but Sadie, our last baby, she had her newborn screen done, and she had a false positive for hypothyroidism. So hyperthyroidism means the body is producing too much thyroid hormone, which is why the pituitary produces less TSH. Hypothyroidism, or congenital hypothyroidism, is where the body doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone. And if you find out about it, which is why it's tested for on the newborn screen, it's just basically a pill every day for life, and it basically it means that the child will have a normal life. Otherwise, there's a lot of like mental retardation and stuff like that from congenital hypothyroidism. But kids today who have that outcome really experience none of that because they get them, they get the medication levels figured out very quickly. And then it's just a simple daily dose every day for the rest of their life. But anyways, so like I said, it was a false positive for Sadie. We did the retest and everything came back normal. I felt then and feel now that one of the reasons was because we did the newborn screen a little bit before she turned 24 hours old, and you're supposed to do it after the baby turns 24 hours old because there are metabolic things that have to come online in the baby, not just with the thyroid, but for other reasons too, other metabolic issues. The newborn screen is testing for some 200 something issues, a lot of them which are metabolic. So anyways, you wait on that. And I just wonder, because Sadie's first test was just borderline. Was it because we hadn't given her that full 24 hours? And I still kind of feel like that. But obviously, when you've seen something about the thyroid and then you have something else come up involving thyroid, it sends up red flags. It causes you to worry. So we did a retest of the TSH. Actually, my nurse practitioner ordered a more sensitive TSH test. And also she ordered the sensitive test plus a cascade, which basically means that the lab has a flow chart that says if the TSH is low, then test free T4. If the free T4 is high, test free T3. So my lab results, we did that on Friday morning, and the results came back like in the wee hours of Sunday a.m. because when I checked on Sunday morning, they were there. And so the TSH, like I said, on Monday when we took it, so I was 9 weeks in 1 day then, it was 0.06. And then we did the more sensitive test on Friday when I would have been 9 weeks and 5 days. So, and it came back still outside of the normal limit on the low side at 0.11 rather than 0.06. But the T4 levels were completely normal. And actually a little bit on the lower side of normal, so not even getting close to possibly being high. So I spoke to my midwife about it, and I actually talked to the nurse practitioner about it today. And the nurse practitioner said right away, sometimes in the first trimester of pregnancy, it can mess with things. She said, normally I would give you a referral to an endocrinologist. The endocrine system is the hormone system. But she said, I'm comfortable, with doing a retest. And I had already talked to my midwife too. And we had talked about, she said, she was comfortable doing a retest. Generally, in obstetrics, it's recommended to retest again in 4 weeks. I want to retest a little bit later than that because when I had my prenatal testing done with Sadie and Corwin, so my last two babies, I was around 16 weeks. And so I have the TSH value from those two pregnancies at that point in pregnancy. And I like, looking at the values on the lab charts, but I also feel like there's value in looking at what's my personal normal. And I think that can be a good thing to look at. For example, like my iron levels tend to be very good, like, around 13 or whatever. And so if my iron levels had been like around like 11 or 10, I would have been concerned because that's not normal for me, even though that's still normal. So anyways, I just feel like it's good, especially if you've got your own personal values. And because I have a lot of pregnancies, I have a lot of lab values. So it's interesting to look at those and to compare those across pregnancies. Anyways, so I feel like everything is good. Like I said, when I looked at like a list of symptoms of hyperthyroidism, I have like none of the symptoms. And I know things can be subclinical, so you're asymptomatic at first, but just really nothing. And then the other thing is reading about the HCG connection. I got a really early, really dark pregnancy test with this baby, which is like a pregnancy test is not necessarily a good barometer of HCG levels, but it's interesting to me because it was darker than I've had with another baby. And then I read about this HCG connection in the lower thyroid. And then also I've definitely had more nausea and stuff, more morning sickness. It's not morning sickness for me. It happens in the evening most frequently. And like I said last week, it's still the same as last week. Like it's kind of sneak attack, like it just comes up on me. I can see things that it correlates with, like an empty tummy definitely exacerbates it. Also getting up and like moving from, like, if I've been sitting for a while and then getting up and moving can make like my tummy get unsettled. And then there are other things, like things that just bother me. Like I have this thing about kid stickers, like, they let the stickers get dirty and stuff, and it's just, ugh, it bothers me. It always bothers me, even non-pregnant, but when pregnant, it's like way worse. And then like dirty socks. Like I could design an entire comedy skit about dirty socks in my house. But this morning I was having my younger ones clean the den, and Honor brings over these dirty socks, and she's like basically shoving them in my face. She's like, "Mama, where should I put these socks?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, dirty socks. That's so gross." And so anyways, yeah, so I'm sorry about the camera shaking again, guys. I'm actually hopefully going to work on getting something to help stabilize in the next week or so, but not this week. But so I can see correlations, but it's definitely, it feels like it's stronger this time for sure, because with Sadie it was almost non-existent. I don't know if that might have something to do with HCG. I also suspect it has something to do with I haven't been as diligent with probiotics. I was traveling. So I feel like overall, again, my diet's been really good, which is cool because I don't always feel like that in the first trimester, but I feel like it's been pretty good. Let's see. So that moves into another thing I wanted to talk about. So I announced last week officially to everybody on my mailing list and everything. If you're not on the mailing list, you can hop over to Trust Birth 101, Trust Birth 101, and sign up to be on the mailing list. You get a little daily tip email and that kind of stuff. And I'll let you know when there's a new video or whatever. But yeah, so I announced to everybody, so everybody was watching the videos because I finally made all the videos from previous weeks public, and so some people emailed me asking me if I thought it might be twins because I had gotten that really early pregnancy test, and also because I can already feel my uterus, and so that that was kind of interesting, and then to have the TSH stuff come up in my blood work, but I don't really think that it's twins. I haven't had any intuition or any dreams or anything. I did for a while think with Sadie that maybe there were twins, but one of the things that I did with Sadie is I kept a lot of records. Like each week with her, I would sit down and I had a little sheet that I filled out where I would like palpate to feel where my uterus was and recorded my weight and if I could feel baby or hear her heartbeat, which at this point I couldn't. But, I made records of all of that. So I actually pulled those back out. And I started doing that pretty early with her. So I was able to go back like to week 10 and everything and look at, where was I feeling my fundus, which that means the top of the uterus. So where was I feeling that? And it feels pretty much, it's like, I think it's about the same. So I think it's just that I'm a mom of many. My midwife said that doesn't cause that to happen, but I guess I kind of respectfully disagree with her. I'm also a member of a group, like a private forum for moms of many kids, and we have a little due date club going on. And there's a few ladies in there who are all due around the same point as me, and they can all feel too, like their own, I guess, uteri, who would be the plural of uterus. So, I think it's a mom of many thing. It's just I've had a lot of babies, and my uterus is like, oh, I know what's going on. So I obviously could be wrong, but again, I don't have any intuition. So we'll see. I have my first official prenatal appointment next week. It'll actually be after my update next week. So I'll talk about it the week after next. But anyways, so we'll talk about it then. But last time, Kathy, that's my midwife, never even mentioned anything about thinking that it was twins, and I suspect this time it'll be the same. So even with all the excitement, I don't think it's twins. Otherwise, the big drama was with the blood work. I actually really hope that there won't be very much drama in this pregnancy because my goal is no drama. I've been pretty forgiving of myself again over this week. I really want to start getting up earlier. But again, I'm also trying to respect that it's just exhausting. It's like when I look up like baby size from one week to the next and realize, that this week baby's this size and this week baby's this size and this week baby's this size kind of thing. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. That is a whole lot going on inside your body over just the course of a week. So again, I'm trying to be forgiving of myself. I'm trying to be more intentional about asking Scott to do things with the business. Our big goal for this week is for me to find time to record a podcast again and get the podcast going. Again, if nothing else. I actually have several articles written. I just haven't had the time or the energy to format them. But I really want to get the podcast going again, most of all. Otherwise, a lot of what we've been working on is behind the scenes. I've been doing some stuff like for other work-at-home moms, and I'm hoping to get some of that like really taking off next week. That's at milkandmud.com if any of y'all are interested in that. Like as in milk, as in the milk you drink. So milkandmud.com. But that's all like kind of stuff, workshops and things I'm doing for work-at-home moms. So that's something that I'm kind of feeling passionate about right now. And so I've been working on that. But my heart and soul is with natural birth and baby care. So, so I really want to get back into the podcast at least for that and keep these videos up. I've gotten several requests for like a day in the life of and everything. And I'm definitely going to try and do those. I want to try and get something to help me stabilize the phone a little bit more for when I'm recording video. And then we'll probably start with that. So maybe coming in a couple weeks. But otherwise, I feel good. I feel tired. And the nausea is definitely a challenge. There are definitely things like I am craving pizza, like insanely craving pizza. I really haven't had very much. Scott said, well, we'll start making pizza. We have to do a grocery shopping run because we don't really have the stuff for pizza. But he's like, we can make pizzas because then it's healthy. But I've been like insanity pizza cravings. And some aversions, like for the beef stew, I still have, it's delicious once I start eating it, but like the thought of eating it is like, ugh. So anyways, but otherwise, I really feel good. It's just tired. We're moving into March where I've got lots of baby stew that I'm supposed to assist with. I'm worried a little bit about that because I do feel tired. And it's like, how am I going to drag myself out of bed in the middle of the night to go to a mom's house? But, I've done it before, so I'm hoping that that'll be good. Anyways, so this is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it up now. Again, if you've got any questions or anything that you want me to cover, I'm definitely happy to do that. I'm going to go ahead and like scoot off the bed now so that I can show you my belly. And then the cover photo for this video will also show like my belly picture for this week. So we'll try. I'm sorry, my bathroom's kind of backlit over there, so we'll try. So I'm wearing a sweatshirt and then again, denim skirt with, with sweatpants underneath. Though it's actually quite warm today. So I definitely, there's a little bump there going on. Last night, tomorrow's my birthday. Scott took me out for dinner last night for my birthday. And we ate so much. And so I looked like I had a huge bump. But yeah, so there's definitely a little bump there now, but I don't feel like you can really even tell with the sweatshirt, which makes me feel better, and I'm also getting to the point where we've told everybody, so I'm okay with a little bit of a bump. Anyways, so I will talk to you next week. I hope that you have a blessed week. Let me know if there are any questions or anything in particular that you're wondering about, and I'll try and cover that stuff in the coming weeks.